Hello and welcome to our review for Ashes to Ashes, which was the 11th episode of season 6 of the 100. I really enjoyed that episode. I thought it was really well done. It was, um, I forgot the actor's name who plays Bellamy, but that guy was directing this episode.
Bob Morley.
Bob Marley, and I thought he did a really, really good job with it. That he had a really good episode to work with. It was written really well. A lot of different characters had some really good lines. I thought Murphy had like a handful of really, really funny things that he said throughout the episode. I think my favorite one was when Echo and him were going through the room with Russell, and they were speaking the Creole, and he said something like, "Pretend to hate me," and then she said something like, "Murphy, you traitor." I thought it was just like, it was typical Murphy. Really, really funny. But there was also really cool things with Miller and Bellamy and Gaia, and I'm sure others I'm forgetting about. What did you think of the episode, though?
I enjoyed it. It was a nice pace. Like, I didn't get bored, which sometimes happens with this show. But I liked it. It was good.
Definitely interesting all the way through the episode from the very beginning to the end. They had some interesting stuff with Gabriel and the children of Gabriel. That definitely kept things tense with all the shooting and Murphy sneaking into camp. I thought that was really interesting. But the whole like story arc with Murphy even going out, that was started this episode. There was a lot packed into this. They started off with Maddie and Jackson. I remember we talked before this episode. We were pretty sure that everybody was safe. They probably weren't going to kill off anybody in the cast. But this episode started off with Maddie kind of struggling with potentially trying to kill Jackson instead of just kind of get out of restraints. Shade Hater just wanted her to go straight for the throat, and it sounded like he was trying to take over control of her body. Like she was going to give over full control of her body to this commander, which is, I think, different than what they've explored in the past. I don't know if they said explicitly that he takes over the body of the host or whatever they call it on Earth, but it sounds like it's actually pretty similar to how the primes operate here on planet Alpha, or the moon Alpha. I thought it was cool they were playing chess, like, and that Maddie had the darker pieces and Shadeheda had the lighter ones, because it, I think, kind of reflected the struggle a little bit instead of making it so like clear. It's like she has actually a lot of elements inside of her that are pretty evil, and who knows why Shadeheda is motivated by what he's motivated by. Maybe he actually isn't like just pure evil. Maybe he thinks it's his only way to help her, and he's actually doing the right thing. I think that could be part of his whole like worldview, and part of like the struggle that Bellamy and Clark seem to be going back and forth on. How do they make themselves better? How do they respect Monty and his sacrifice? Because they did seem to kind of highlight that later on in the episode, and I felt like that was kind of, by putting the scene with the chess at the very beginning of the episode, I thought they kind of signified that struggle was coming up later on. Becca's Book of Spells, that was one of my favorite lines that Murphy had. I think that he's, yeah, it's like it's a good way of summing up what it is, and it's like a fun little sci-fi trope. What else do I have in here? Oh yeah, I liked Echo pointing out that when that guy killed Simone, that wasn't really murder, but by resurrecting somebody that was taking somebody's life. And the way she did that in front of all the underlings, I think actually may come around to actually helping them out in the long run. Like, that seemed to be kind of an important scene. The fact that she was calling him out in front of everybody else may actually help them more than all the good that they're trying to do. It seems like Echo's going down a very different path than a lot of the others on our team. The 100, or whatever we call them, the Earthlings. because she killed Riker. She definitely didn't spare the innocent, right? She
Yeah.
thinks hesitation is death, and that seems to be a very different philosophy from Clark and Bellamy. I mean, Bellamy was leaning on the side of the red sun toxin, using that to drive everybody homicidally crazy, creating another Mount Weather, and that seems kind of like Echo, but he's kind of shifting towards Clark, which I think will lead to a rift in their relationship when they finally do meet up again. Echo may end up killing a bunch of people, and he's like, "We just went through all of this trouble to try and avoid all this bloodshed.
Mm.
You were the new blood, Reyna, like essentially." And Octavia and her, they definitely haven't had the best history, so it's going to be interesting to see how Octavia is going to handle essentially a different type of blood Reyna interaction. I mean, that's where I expect they're taking this season.
Mm-hmm.
Probably get to that in the next few episodes and maybe resolve it faster than I'm even expecting. They like to do that with the show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Nightbloods, they can walk right through the wall, the shield wall around
I thought
the
we
thing.
already knew that.
I think the fact that they're highlighting that means that the fact that Echo now has that means that she's going to be the one to actually, um, lower the shield or do something more pivotal. They're saying, "Oh, we need we need Gabriel to bring the red toxin bomb in there." Maybe the red toxin bomb might not work. Maybe they're gonna lose Gabriel and they're gonna have to rely on the red toxin bomb that they already have inside of Sanctum, because they seem to explain that they have that, and I don't think you bring that up unless you're gonna use that at some point. Maybe they use the lower version of the red toxin bomb, and then they bring back the full one on the children of Gabriel and turn them into real killers. But who knows how many of the children of Gabriel are left? Like, to be honest, they just had a shootout with some of the guards. Although it seems like they're not actually trying to kill each other, because the guards just like punched that lady in the face instead of shooting her. And I think that was to try and keep people from being aware of their presence.
Mm.
But for whatever reason, these people, although they're at war, they don't seem to resort to, fatal measures all the time. They seem to kind of still see each other as family.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense. They're from a small community, right?
Yeah.
Everybody probably knows each other. Everybody that's alive. I did like how they explained that Gabriel destroyed all the embryos. They explained a lot of stuff that they had been keeping secret. I felt like they'd been keeping that almost for Bob Marley's episode here, like to try and give him something really different and interesting to work with, something fun to work with, and I thought that worked really well, because there was a lot of answers. It wasn't just that. There was other things like Simone leaving out test subjects. That makes sense. Like, now we know a little bit more about Murphy's whole experience when he was left out in the Red Sun and was in the water. And I'm starting to now think, like, why did he, out of all the people, not go crazy with the toxin? Why was he like the last one? Maybe it was a proximity thing. Maybe it has something to do with who he is and how he thinks, because it seems like, for whatever reason, people who are more likely to believe in whatever faith or faiths they have are more prone to the toxin and the homicidal tendencies that come with it. Or maybe those who aren't religious, they just see it in a different way. They experience the chemical in a completely different way. Probably we'll come back to that when we start to find out more about Diosa, I think. Octavia and Diosa. And
I hope we do find out more about Diosa, because the way they said it there, it almost seemed like it was like, okay, done with that story,
That would be dumb.
The way they just wrapped it up like that, though.
No, I think they're toying with us. They're trying to make us think like, oh, she could be gone. But that makes me feel like actually it's more likely that she's coming back even next episode. We got a couple episodes left, I think. It's not.
It's on 11, so.
I mean, it's possible. Sometimes they're 12 episodes long, but I think this season's 13 episodes, and or maybe
Yeah.
even 14. I remember we looked up the releases, and they're going into early August, so there's at least a couple more episodes left. One of my favorite moments in this was definitely when Miller pickpocketed the knife off of um, the guard, because that was a really fun callback to his origin. Because I remember when they first gave him a backstory, he was in jail. He was part of the 100 for being a pickpocket, and they used that skill to break into the president's office. And I think it's season 2. So it was great to see him kind of go back to those origins, and not be kind of like the killer that Blood Reyna made him, because like Gaia had just talked to him about that whole experience and was willing to call back in the guards to kill him when that was completely unnecessary. They went and spared the innocent. They took the harder path, which is picking the lock and escaping out the top, which meant they didn't get the uniforms right away, but that didn't stop them in the long run. Like they still achieved their goal and almost cost Echo her life, but it was just enough. They're just quick enough to save her in the nick of time.
Of course.
Cost Riker. Do you think Riker's actually dead? I feel like he is. Like, Echo doesn't not stab somebody to death.
Yeah, but also there was like the subtitle that said bones cracking, so yeah, I think he's probably gone.
I mean, they can resurrect these guys, and it's possible he's not gone for good, but I like the character. I think it'd be a shame if that was his end. At the same time, it was a really strong scene for Echo. I think we didn't like one of the last episodes where they explored Echo's past, but the cutscene actually worked really, really well with the scene that they were in.
Yeah.
The flashback, just like the whole hesitation of like not killing that person, and then not wanting to kill their friend, leading to Ash becoming Echo, and her like life philosophy. Yeah, it's neat, and I think it's something that because it happened to her at such a young age, she's gonna find it pretty hard to get past. And she's lost her Bellamy. It's kind of like when Octavia lost Bellamy and she became Blood Reyna. She doesn't have her guiding light. She kind of needs him, kind of like Octavia does. And kind of like Maddie losing Clark, like his, sent her down this dark path. It's very neat that they have drawn those parallels through all the different characters. What else is there? Oh, I like how they referenced the Joby nuts too. That was another cool little reference to season 1. I feel like Bob Marley, he really likes to show himself. He was able to, or actually that was the writer, really. The writer put that in there, so to be honest. Yeah. They set him up for a nice episode, but it was cool. It was nice the way the visuals kind of matched elements of season 1, because the whole bright mushroom flowers did remind me kind of those butterflies that they had with Octavia and her boyfriend thing. I forget his name. One of her many. I think Clark's definitely gonna regret telling Maddie that she's dead, because I think it's gonna lead to Maddie maybe screwing things up for them, leading to a lot of people dying, and maybe even Maddie not becoming redeemable. She may end up getting killed for doing something horrible, kind of like how Finn did something horrible, and then they had to sacrifice him.
I don't know if they'll kill off Maddie.
It's very unlikely, because I think she's pretty well received, to be honest. But it doesn't seem like something that's impossible to me. Like, it would be very sad, and would definitely stick with all the characters, and would be something they would reference. Another cool line was when Bellamy said, yeah, you're my sister, but you're not my responsibility, because it's just like, it felt like, it's callback after callback after callback, but they were all pretty cool. They were all well done. Like that was a neat line. It worked well with the the arcs that they've taken the characters through. And some of it seemed just so relevant to his character that I kind of feel like he had some influence on the episode outside of just directing it. Like he could just tweak lines to make it make more sense. I don't think we really talked about the symbolism of the title "Ashes to Ashes" at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ash. Ekka's original name is Ash, and the whole saying seems to be about how you come from dirt and you turn to dirt, which is how do you take that saying? What does that mean to you? Very literally, that's what it means. But what does that mean? Like, outside of that, to me, I'm not too sure. It sounds like, you don't come from much, and it's very easy to lose it all. But I don't know. Like, I'm not very familiar with the saying, to be honest.
I mean, I think it's more of like, I don't know, we're all made of the same stuff, the whole idea that people come from, everyone's made of like stardust or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I wasn't really talking about Ashes.
No, that's okay. I don't really know much about the saying, to be honest. I thought it was from like when I heard it, I thought it was from that childhood
the nursery rhyme
song where they ring around the rosy, where they say something ash. I thought it was ashes to ashes they all fall down, but apparently it's just ashes they all fall down. So what do I know? I thought it was just like a little reference about how like death is all around you. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like,
could be.
And it probably has to do a lot with that whole flashback and the whole hesitation is death, to be honest. But outside of that, I don't know. If you know, maybe you can leave something in the comments below. That's everything I have to say. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you around for the next one. Have a good one.